is Christine, aka Crafti Potential, and I'm a crafter for Tonic Studios, and today I'll be making the Tremendous Tree. So with this beautiful Tremendous Tree, you can go really sleek and elegant, and you've actually got foil fusion transfers that you can add on to different portions of your tree as well. You can go a little bit more funky and add lots of buttons as baubles all over your tree. Or you can go very dimensional and add really like curled, flicked out elements onto your tree. And the one that we're going to create in this video is going to be beautifully dimensional like this one, but we're going to have some detailed die cut into the pieces as well. And this one that we're making in the video is also going to be cream and gold, so it's going to be very elegant looking. So let's get into constructing this tree. Now, for the base portion of the tree, you are going to need 2 dodecagons, which is a 12-sided shape. Now, one of them is just going to be left normal, and the other one you need to put adhesive all the way around the edge. Then you're also going to need 6 of these side panels. So because we have a 12-sided box, each side panel of this box has 2 panels on it, so therefore we're going to need 6 of them to create the 12 sides of this. I have already pre-folded all of these, but it's really simple to do. They're all mountain folds away from you, and you just want to make sure you're using a glide folder or a card creaser or a bone folder to get a really nice burnish on all of those folds so it looks nice and geometrical once it's all put together. Then for the base of the box, you're also going to need 2 pieces that look like this. Now, this is actually 2 dies that create this, and the dies actually have extra metal on them to make it really easy to line up to get the central dodecagon perfectly inside the outer dodecagon as well. But that is what the box is going to taper up to. And then we also need these 2 small die cuts here. So this one's actually a hinge, and this is part of the closure mechanism for the box as well. You will need another of these for the top of the box too, this little closure mechanism, but we'll get to that later on. So firstly, for building this box, we're going to take the dodecagon or 12-sided shape that has the red liner tape all the way around the perimeter, and we're going to take these glue tabs. So where this piece sort of tapers out to the wider end, these side panels are the perfect width to match up with the base sides of this dodecagon. And the way we're going to do this is we're holding this piece adhesive side up, and then we're going to hook the glue tabs over the edge and secure them into position. So we're just going to hook that round, fold it around where the corner is and where the fold line is on our double panel, and it's going to go on really nicely. And for the next one, when you add the second one, you can either focus on lining up this side panel with the glue tab that we're going to eventually stick it to, or you can focus on the sort of point between the 2 sides on the shape, and then the point between, or like the side panel basically. Whichever you find easier for lining up with, either way works really nicely. So basically we're just going to put all 6 of these panels all the way around the base of our tree. Then once we have secured those into position, we're going to take our second dodecagon and we're going to add glue all around the perimeter mostly, and then a little bit in the middle as well, but right up to the edges so that we're going to get a nice strong bond with the glue tabs that are already on there, and then a little bit across the middle to hold it into position nicely. And then we're going to line this up and press this onto the base of our tree. And it will line up absolutely perfectly with all 12 sides of your shape. And to get a nice firm pressure on it, you can actually flip it over and then press from the inside with whichever tool you like to use for your burnishing of your score lines, just to get a nice strong bond in there. So once that is stuck into position, we then want to glue all of these side glue tabs, and I do find glue is the easiest way for these, but if you want to use your red liner tape, then you can do that as well. So I'm just going to put it all the way up the side there, hold that into position so the cut line of one is lining up with the score line of the next from that glue tab. Then we can also fold that glue tab over and add on one of our favourite little pegs just to hold that into position as well whilst the glue is drying. And then we can move on to the next side panel. You can just ease it out so you can get glue all the way down the glue tab. And when you are putting this into position, you're sort of pulling up the side so it lines up here on these top score lines, making sure that they're all going to be in line as you go around the top 12-sided shape of it. And then you're also going down inside the box to make sure that the cut line of one of these panels is lining up with the score line of the previous one as well. And then you can simply fold that over and put a little peg on there just to hold it into position whilst the glue dries. And then we're going to repeat this for all of them going round. I'll come back to the last two so that I can show you how you get your glue in there really nice and easily. So now we've got to the last two glue tabs. The easiest way to do this is to sort of ease this one out a little bit. You can't pull it completely out because the side panel is going round a corner, but if you pull it out as far as you can, add your glue to that one, and then keep holding this out and add your glue to this one as well. And then you can ignore that back one for now, the first one we put glue on, focus on this front one first, pull this in, line up those top score lines, and make sure that the cut line is going up against the score line really nicely on these side panels. Then flip that little glue tab over at the top and peg it into position, and now we can focus on the next one. You can see there's still a gap there, so the glue's not actually touching our panel yet until we actually press it into place. So we can pull that around, press it into place from the top first, and then press from the inside as well. If you can't quite reach all the way down because of the small opening that's now at the top, you can secure that into place with your little peg, and then again take your glide folder, your bone folder, your card creaser and press from the inside to get a nice firm contact between the glue tab and the side of your box. And you can do that all the way around in case you've missed any areas as well. And there we have the first basis of the base of our Christmas tree. Now at this point, I'm going to leave this and we're going to move on to the top of the Christmas tree, just so that we can make sure all of this is really nice and dry before we try to put these pieces in the top of the box. And it also means as we're going backwards and forwards between bits and pieces, the top is going to have time to dry and everything whilst we're working backwards and forwards. So let's leave that to one side for now. Then for the top of this Christmas tree, you're going to need two more of these, one with red liner tape, one without, just like for the base. I can't remember if I actually said that, but one's got red liner tape on, one hasn't, and we need the same for the top of the tree. And then we need 6 of this triangular panel here. Now I definitely wanted to leave one of these to show you the scoring for this, or the pre-folding of the pieces, because if you look on the actual die cut piece, the top of this triangle, the score lines don't go right up to the point, and you might be thinking, oh, that's going to look really bad when I put the tree together if you're not getting a crisp line all the way up to the top. But there is actually a piece that covers this. So on all of the trees that you can make, there is this top section that covers any of the messy areas at the top, and it also gives like a third section of colour to your tree depending on how you're actually, you know, dividing out your colours for your design. But you have this top piece that actually goes over any of those top points, so when you end up scoring it and you end up with a piece that looks like this and the score lines don't go right up to the point of the tree, it doesn't matter, that bit is going to get hidden, so you don't have to worry when you're putting it all together if the top of the tree is starting to look a little bit ugly where all of them are meeting, because it does get covered up and looks really nice once you've covered that point up. So for actually scoring this, you want to get your crease going on this larger part and then ease your fingers up, trying to sort of pinch it along that score line, and then you can sort of burnish it like so, and then get your glide folder in to give it a really good crisp burnish then. And again, start with the wider point and then move your fingers up to the narrower point, and then you can just press it down and then use your glide folder to really press it into position. So you've now got another one that looks like this, and then you also have 2 mounting folds for those 2 glue tabs at the bottom here as well. So you want all 6 of your panels to be folded just like that. And then this one is a little bit simpler to put together because we haven't got a base to be involved in this. Sort of like where the base would be is now the point of the tree. So all we have to do is, when you look at this piece, you have 3 triangles but 2 glue tabs. So the ones that have the glue tabs on are the actual side panels of the tree. The one that doesn't have a glue tab on is actually the glue tab to attach the top of this tree together. And the reason they've done it like this is so that it really creates a sturdy top portion of the tree, because the glue tab is pretty much the entire size of the previous panel. So it gives you a really sturdy build on this. So basically all you want to do is take your adhesive, add it all over that triangular glue panel or glue tab that doesn't have the little glue tab on the bottom, and then you just want to line it up behind the previous one's actual side panel of the tree as well. And you can just line it up again with the cut line of one going right up to the fold line of the other. And again, if things aren't completely matching at the top, it doesn't matter because we are going to be hiding that as well. So we've got the first one done, and then we just build this all the way around, just putting all 6 of them together. So I'll speed it up until I get to the last one. So we've now got a piece that looks like this, and it will actually lay flat. So if you really want to press all of those bits into position, this piece will actually lay flat. But now we want to join it all together. So we're going to take that final large triangular glue tab, add our glue all of the way up, and then pull this round into almost like a cone or a hat kind of shape, a witch's hat sort of shape. So we're now just going to press that nicely, making sure the cut line is lining up against the score line, and then to really get a good firm press right at the top of the point, we can use our glide folder on the inside. So now we have the main portion of the top of our tree. We could have also used pegs there to hold it into place, but all of the ones I've been making I haven't used pegs, and it's been totally fine. So that is the sort of main portion of the top of our tree. Now, while we're waiting for that to dry really nicely, we can actually move on to the very tippity top of our tree as well. So this piece is the little cap that covers it, and there are actually 2 different ones in the set so that you can pick. If you are doing the one with the added dimension, these all have a curved end to them, so you actually have a piece that has a curved end to it. But if you were doing one of the sort of more simpler looking trees that have just the straight panels to go on them, there's a straight ended one as well. So you can pick whichever one you would like. And this top piece also goes to 6 sides rather than 12 sides, but it fits over really nicely. You don't have to worry that this piece has only got 6 sides to it. It works really nicely just to cover that top portion. So to create this, you need 3 of these small little pieces here. And again, you really want to get a nice crisp fold on all of these pieces. So I've already done 2 of them. And the way I've been doing it is I've been folding these side panel pieces first. So fold this one over and burnish that one down. So you're now sort of seeing one side panel of this piece. And then again, fold it over, burnish it down, and then we have 2 tiny little score lines right next to the edges here on this hexagon that we need to fold as well. So we can just fold that and press it. You don't really need to use your glide folder on that. It's quite a small little glue tab, so you might, if you're too rough, you might accidentally pull the side panels off of that if you're using your glide folder. But we've got all 3 of those ready now. And I have found the easiest way to build this is, instead of sticking all 3 of them together first, I found the easiest way is to stick 2 of them together, like so. And you can see they sort of slot together because of the hexagon that's on the top of there. You can see that 3 of them will fit perfectly. So we've kind of got an X shape at the moment. So you want to hold that into place where you've glued it. Then put your adhesive on one of your glue tabs here, and then fold this under and press that nice and firmly to sort of start building the side of this little cap piece. Then you want to do exactly the same on the opposite side. So put glue on the glue tab, fold it under, and then press it nice and firmly into position, like so. So now we've almost got our little cap built, but you can see we need more side panels on here. So now we're going to take the third piece, put a little bit of glue on that little hexagon, and then we're going to lay that across the opposite way. So we're now filling in those final sides, and now at this point we do have quite a few glue tabs to contend with. If you have a look at the side, we've got our 2 side panels here plus a glue tab, then we've got our new side panel and another glue tab, and the same on the other side as well. So add your glue to the glue tab that's on the 2 side panels, and then add your glue to this glue tab as well. Carefully fold this glue tab under that curved actual panel piece, and then pull this one round. So now we've got that first side stuck together, we can repeat for the other side of this. So we're going to put glue on that glue tab just there, that's attached to all of the rest of the curved pieces that we've put into place, and then we want to add glue to the glue tab that is remaining, and then we can carefully tuck this glue tab underneath. So you want to get that first point to go underneath there and tuck it in, and then all we're doing is just sort of moulding it so that we're getting the cut line of one right up against the fold line of the next panel. It's a little bit fiddly to do, and it's very fiddly to show on camera because it's so small and my hands keep getting in the way, but you can sort of press to get it partially held into place, and then again using your glide folder, anything that's got a point on the end of it, even a pencil, a water brush, you know, anything that you've got in your stash that you can sort of get in there and press against to get that nice firm bond. So that is the actual top little cap of our tree that's going to cover all of that pointy area, and it's going to go on really nicely and just cover that up and neaten it up for us. But there's one more stage that we need to do to this. We want to add a little star decoration on top of our tree. Now you can actually snip off that star and place anything you want to on there. So if you have a small little angel or something, you could snip off the star and place an angel on top of it as well. Just keep this sort of base stalk and little half hexagon pieces here. But you can actually add whatever you would like to onto there. But for the star, you basically want to, where that little half hexagon is, there's a tiny score line. It's hard to see on the glitter card that I've used here, but there is a tiny score line, and you just want to fold that over, and then you can use your glide folder. Be careful because everything is quite delicate here, but you can actually use it to give a nice crisp fold line there. And then you want to do the same on the other one as well. Then you want to add glue all over the back of this stalk and the whole star there. Just one of them, you don't need to do it on both. Just making sure you go all the way up to the edges. And then you can take the other one and press it directly on top. So you've got the beautiful gold sparkly or mirror card, whatever you're using, on both sides of your little star, and then you can just make sure that they're perfectly lined up with each other. It's exactly symmetrical, so it's going to work really, really nicely. And then once you have stuck them both together, you're going to have a small little hexagon on the base of this. So all you have to do is add a little bit of glue onto there, and then we can press that right on the top of our little cap piece that we just made, and we can leave that to dry as we go back to work on the base of the tree. So we'll leave that there, and we'll bring the base of our tree back in, and this has had plenty of time to dry, so we can take all of these little pegs off that were holding those pieces into position, and we're left with the base of our tree. But now we need to actually add on the sort of middle portion of our tree. So we want to bring all of these glue tabs together and kind of create a collar portion to strengthen the top of this box and give there something for the top of the tree to perfectly line up with as well. So I have found the easiest way is to take all of these little glue tabs, fold them all backwards like so that they're out of your way. Then take one of your sort of frame dodecagons that you've created with 2 of the dies in the die set, and remove all of your red liner tape off of the back of this. Again, you can do it in stages if you would rather, but I do find it's much easier to take the tape off of everything because you can actually hold it down onto your mat like this and press against to easily be able to take that backing liner off of here. You could use glue again if you want to, but I have found that red liner tape makes this so simple, and we are going to attach the second piece on with glue, so there is going to be a proper bond with glue as well later on. So the easiest way to do this is to just select one of these tabs. Doesn't matter which one you select, just select one, hold the actual ring just like on one of your thumbs, just stick it to it so you can sort of hover in place, and then you just want to line up one side of this with one glue tab. That's all we're focusing on for now. So we're just going to line up the one side with the one glue tab and press it into place. Then we're going to look directly opposite, and we can see that there is a glue tab directly opposite. So we're going to make the edge of this dodecagon go right up against the side of the box, and we're going to press that glue tab. We really want the side of that sort of frame piece to go right up to the score line. So it might look like we're misshaping the top of this box, and you can see it doesn't look like it's going to completely line up perfectly, but once we have sort of gone opposite each time, it is going to line up really nicely. So just bear with it as you're sticking this together. But you can see having the red liner tape makes it so easy because that's already instantly held into place. We haven't got to wait for any glue to dry whilst we're like trying to pinch things into position. So now we've got those two opposites done. The next easiest thing is to sort of go with a clock. So those are 12 and 6, and now we're going to go 3 o'clock, press that in, and then 9 o'clock as well, pressing that into position. And again, it looks even more misshapen now in some areas, but if you keep going with opposites, it works out really well. So I did actually push the wrong one in then. We should have gone with this one next, but it doesn't matter entirely. I'm just trying to show you a way to get it perfectly sort of in position. So now we're going to go 2 more opposites, so we can press this one, and then you can see here if you push on the side it's going to move into position and stick on there really nicely. So we can press that one into place and go with the opposite there as well, and then we can go these 2 opposites here, and then that one's just popped off a little bit, but we can press those into place really nicely, and then we can just pinch from the inside around this little ring just to make sure all of them have come into contact with that red liner tape. Now don't jump ahead here. I would now be tempted to stick this on to make that look neater, but to make it look even neater we want to hide 2 pieces underneath this sort of decorative kind of piece. So let's go back to these 2 tiny pieces here. One of these is the hinge. This is the little hinge here, and you want to fold that in half and burnish that down nicely so you've got a good crisp bond on your little hinge there, or a good crisp fold. And then you want to do the same thing on this piece, which is half of the latch. There's going to be one of these on the top of the box and one on the bottom of the box, and this is going to be able to allow you to tie a ribbon through there to hold it into position. So now we've got those folded nicely, we want to just decide which is going to be our front. It really doesn't matter at this point because everything looks the same, but just pick one side of your box, put a little dab of glue on that glue tab there that we folded over, and then just place your little half a latch on there. The only positioning you want to worry about is you just want to make sure that that fold line is in line with the sort of top of the box just there. And then you want to go directly opposite, and then you want to stick your hinge on here. So again, we can take a little bit of glue, add that on, and again make sure that fold line is just perfectly lining up with the side of the box there as well. So we've now got those 2 pieces in position. Now we can add this second frame piece to hide all of our workings and our glue tabs. So you want to add glue all over this, and then you want to press this into position, lining it up on all 12 sides, and it should line up absolutely perfectly around there. You can also do the pinching method to press this into position really nicely, but I've found as well, where we've got these extra pieces of bulk where we're adding the hinge and the little latch on, just put a couple of little pegs in there whilst that is drying, and that holds it really nice and firmly into position. So we've now got the base of our box, and now while that is drying we can go back to this sort of top section of our box. So we're basically going to repeat the exact same process for this. We're going to fold all of these glue tabs outwards so they're not in our way. Then we're going to take one of our little dodecagon frames that we created, and we're going to remove all of the red liner tape off of this, and these in between pieces as well. Like so. And then we're going to do exactly the same thing. Hold it on our thumb, pick one side, line it up exactly, fold that over. You can give that a really firm press to make sure it's in position. Look directly opposite, fold that one over and press it into place, and then go 3 o'clock and 9 o'clock on your clock, and then we're just going to keep carrying on with opposites. So we can push this one in here, we can go directly opposite, we can push this one onto here and go directly opposite, and then just keep carrying on until you've got all of your side panels on there. And there we have our beautiful top cone of our tree, or that could even be an ice cream cone up that way as well. But you've got a lovely cone piece there. Again, don't get carried away and stick this on yet, because we do need to put our second latch piece on this first, and we need to attach this to the other side of our hinge as well. So we can fold our little latch piece, again burnish that down really nicely. Then again just select one side of our tree, whichever one you want to, place that on, or place a piece of glue on there and then add that on top, making sure that that score line is lining up with the side of the box. So we've got a little piece like this. Then we do need a little bit more red liner tape. I have found again that this is so much easier with red liner tape. With glue it was really tricky trying to get the hinge to attach this top piece for long enough so I could open it and then stick this piece on. It just kept coming apart. So the easiest way is to fold this tiny little hinge back over, take a small little piece of your red liner tape. The 6mm width is absolutely perfect for this, and then you just want to place this small piece of tape onto the upper side of that hinge. So the hinge comes out like this, but we've placed the tape on that top side just there. Then we want to remove the backing off of this. So we've got our exposed adhesive on our folded little hinge here, it's on that top side. Then take the top of your tree, line up those two latches just there, and ease your tree down, making sure that that hinge is folded inwards as you're putting your top of your tree onto the bottom of the tree. Making sure the latches are still lined up, get that hinge to attach, press nice and firmly, and you can see that tree is now attached with that tiny little hinge. And now, because we've got that in place, we've already got that in place as well, we can now add our second frame to make that look really nice and neat on the inside of our box. And we can place this just like so over the top there. Again, a couple of pegs is really nice. Do the pinching method first just to make sure everything is staying nicely together, but just where that little latch is and where the hinge is, a little bit of extra pressure with a peg is quite nice to get that to dry really nicely. Then while that is drying, let's move on to getting all of our panels ready to put onto our tree. So to decorate this tree we are going to be using some majestic gold and some gold dust cardstock. So we've got Majestic Gold Pearlescent, which I've cut the intricate panels into, and then we've got Gold Dust Glitter Card that I've cut the smaller panels into. And the way this works, if we look at this tree, this the patterned paper panels here are the same as these two panels. That's what they look like before you put them onto the tree. And so you kind of layer these panels up. So this one layers with this one. They look very similar in size or shape. So they actually layer together. And then this one will layer with this one directly on top. So you can see kind of how they're going to go together. And when we shape them, you're going to get this kind of effect. But this time, instead of using this patterned paper one, we've actually cut the intricate detail into it. So as well as giving this beautiful flicked out kind of design to it, we're also going to be able to see some of the original colour of the tree, so the cream colour inside the tree as well, which is really lovely. And to create these pieces and give them that flipped kind of texture, I should say first, you're going to need 12 of each of these pieces. So you need 12 of this one, 12 of this one, 12 of this one, and 12 of this one to create this whole decoration for this tree. So to stick these together, I found that flipping this gold glitter one over and doing like a U shape or an upside down U shape of glue just on that top piece there, tapping off the excess and then sticking that to the top of this panel was the best way to just adhere them in a small place so that we can really get that flicked kind of effect. And then for this gold glitter one, of the skinnier kind of portion that decorates the top of the tree, I was half putting the glue on, so I was going from halfway up all the way up to that point, taking a little bit of the excess off and then lining that up exactly with the point of the Majestic Gold one, and it lines up absolutely perfectly. Then I was waiting for this glue to dry, and once they are dry, you can take your glide folder or card creaser and you can curl them. So I was holding it up this way, so we've got, technically it's upside down from the correct way that it goes on the tree, but I found this the easiest way to curl these and get a nice curl on them. And basically you're just going to curl them like they're curling ribbon. So you're just going to flick that kind of portion of it outwards to give this nice curl, and you want to do the same with the detailed delicate one, but just be really careful. You don't have to be too heavy-handed with this, just be really gentle, do it a few times and you're going to get that lovely curve on them as well. And then exactly the same for the smaller one as well. Holding it like this I found was the easiest way, so you could then be in the right position to curl this really nicely. And again, with the delicate detail as well, just do it a few times, gently each time, so you're not going to risk ripping it. And then you've got that curled piece of your panel, and you're going to need 12 of each of them. So I've got all of the rest of them prepared to make it much quicker. So now we've got all of our panels here prepared. All we've got left to do is to attach them all to the tree to make it look really gorgeous and pretty. So we can remove those pegs, and then if you want to hold the tree shut whilst you're working, you can just use an extra peg to hold it shut. It kind of depends how you want to hold it whilst you're sticking things on. I do think having the tree shut makes it a little bit easier. But basically what we're now going to do is take all of these beautiful decorative panels and stick them to our tree. So you can actually stick them, you know, stick as much of this as you want. I'm just going to go for maybe a little bit further than what I stuck the actual glitter card here. But I don't want to put glue on that glitter card because I want it still to be free. So all I'm going to do is again do kind of like an upside down U shape for my glue on here, and I'm going to stick them every other one first, just in case we get any sort of overlapping. I think it's going to look nicer if we have two like this and then one's kind of slightly overlapping on the top, rather than having them all like in a fan kind of effect going around. Maybe all of them would be slightly overlapping a tiny bit. I think it looks really nice if you do them every other and then stick the in-between ones in as well. So that's all I'm going to do right now, is just go around and do every other one, and then I'll come back to you. So so now we've got every other one done. That could even be a design feature, and you could maybe use some of the foil fusions in the middle sections as well. You could change it up a little bit like that too if you wanted to. But now we've got all of those in between ones done, we can go in between each of those. They do fit really nicely, but I just feel like just in case something was a little bit off and something overlapped, I think it would look nicer if you had done it like this. But they do fit absolutely perfectly between there. There's not really any reason to stick it like that. I just feel like if you had accidentally, you know, done something a little bit weird when you were constructing it, it would look nicer if it was put together like that. So we can now just go all of the way around the tree and the in-between panels, sticking these pieces on. Okay, so we've now totally decorated that bottom portion of our tree. You definitely could add extra adhesive if you would rather that these didn't curl out quite so much, these decorative ones. You could have added your adhesive further down so they only flipped out at the bottom, but I quite like giving them that extra freedom to be able to move a little bit more, especially because they have that beautiful filigree detail. The light can sort of shine through them quite nicely and maybe cast shadows and stuff as well. So I think I like it being more loose like that. So we've now got the bottom portion of our tree decorated, and now we'll peg that back together. I had to move the peg just to stick that last one on, but now we can go and add all of these ones on. Now there is a little bit of leeway in where to stick these when you're placing them on. So you can stick them a bit further down if you want to, or you can go right up to the top depending on how far down you want these curly bits to be. If you keep checking with your little cap that can go on and like poke one underneath, and the cap will kind of like hold it into position to begin with, and you can kind of test what level do I like this being at. Do I want that to be a bit further down maybe? I think I like it about there. So we can now hold this into place, take the cap off, and then I'm looking and seeing, okay, I'm sticking all of the points of the triangles about 6 or 7 millimeters away from the top of my tree, and that is the position that I like to get the curled piece at the bottom. So now all we're going to do is do every other one again, sticking them that much down from the top to actually decorate all of the side panels of the tree. So we've now got every other one of our top portion of our tree added onto there, and now we're just going to do the in-between ones. So there we have all of those stuck onto our tree. Look how elegant that looks with the glitter and the pearlescent cardstock. And now all we've got left to do is to add our little cap piece onto the tree to make the top of it look really gorgeous and pretty. So all I've been doing to put these on, just been taking my glue, putting some blobs of it sort of inside like so, and then flipping this over, deciding which side I like best of the star, roughly deciding which side I like best of the tree, although you kind of want to go with the front where you've got your little peg holding it shut. So I'm going to do the star facing the front of my tree, and then I'm just going to slip that on top. And then the glue will dry in there to secure it into place, and we've now got the perfect looking tree where the top is all covered so you can't see any of the panels going up there, and you can't see any of the score lines that were slightly off or anything as well. You've got the perfect elegant little tree. And also within the die set you can also add a trunk to your tree as well. You can add a little base to your tree too, so dependent on the height you want your tree, the sort of style of tree you're going for, you can add a little trunk on the bottom of your tree as well. So there we go. That is the gorgeous Tremendous Tree from Tonic. Hope you enjoyed this construction video. Thanks for watching. Bye.